I thought I started my live a second ago, but hi, and welcome back to the Cross Training Women Weekly Live. I'm Allie, a Christian health and fitness coach, and my passion is helping women overcome their struggles with food and dieting, exercise, and body image so that they can live their healthiest, most vibrant, and God purpose-filled life. And nutrition is a big part of that equation. And so my goal is always to educate you so that you can feel confident and be able to sift out all of the false information regarding food and diets. I am wearing a banana shirt. I've been waiting to wear this shirt until I talked about this topic. Hi Trina, thanks for joining me, guys. So carbs are one of those topics that is controversial, which is crazy to me after all of these years. You know, how could that be? But there's reasons for this, why it's confusing and contradictory, and a lot of the reasons have to do with what I talked about in my live, I think it was a couple weeks ago, about 5 reasons why nutrition is so confusing. And so if you haven't watched that video, make sure that you go back and check it out because it's super eye-opening and it will probably change the way you think about food. Hey Amy, thanks for joining. Okay, so I've been waiting a long time to talk about this topic, and it has finally come. Yesterday I posted on social media asking, do carbs make you fat? And then I answered that $1 million question on a blog post yesterday, which I will talk a little bit more about later. But before I dive into today's video, I want to know who here is on a low carb diet. So comment below in the chat if you're currently on a low carb diet, you're trying to limit or avoid them. You know, whether you're watching this video live or you watch the replay, just comment below in the chat whether you know you try to limit your carbs, you're on a low carb diet, maybe it's a paleo diet, keto diet. Put it in the chats. Let's see, anybody, just wait a moment here to see if anybody here is on a low carb diet. Also, if you're watching this live, leave a comment, say hello. I want to know who's here and watching. Okay, Michelle is not, but she has lots of friends who are on a low carb diet. Okay. Anybody else? Leave a comment. Yes, the banana shirt. Not me. Too many yummy fruits in season. I do have a good friend losing weight on a low carb though. Okay, so you can still leave a comment, but today I'm going to teach you how to cut carbs and lose weight. So are y'all ready for this? And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat. Your mom is Trina? Okay. So the first thing I recommend is to get good quality knives. So I like to use a couple different depending on what I am cutting up. And then from there, watch this. One second. All right, gotta get this back enough. You can cut them, for instance, into little round circles. So I really like to cut carbs in really round circles for potatoes especially. And then I will just put that on parchment paper and bake it in the oven for like 40 minutes. So that's one way to cut carbs, little round circles. Another thing you can do to cut carbs is to cut them into little cubes. So I like to do that with pineapple, for instance. I just like to chop it up, and this is a knife I like to use for pineapple. So you can cut carbs in little cubes. I also like to cut watermelon into cubes as well. Another thing that you can do is you can cut carbs. This is another great option. You can slice carbs. So that's how I like to eat apples. So I like to actually cut up my apples. I don't like to eat them whole, so I like to eat little slices. So that's another great option. And then sometimes, a recipe will call for like diced onions. You can chop carbs up into little pieces. You can do that with bell pepper or carrots if the recipe calls for that. So those are all great and easy ways to cut carbs. Okay, so by now you're probably like, Allie, what the heck are you doing? Is this a joke? And yes and no. So if you saw my blog post yesterday, do carbs make you fat? I debunked one of the most common nutritional myths, this notion that carbs make you fat. So if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, I highly recommend you go check it out. But here's kind of the recap. Oh gosh. Yes, thank you guys. I thought it was funny too. Okay, so it depends on what type of carbohydrate we are talking about. So are we talking about processed carbohydrates or unprocessed carbohydrates? Because they are 100% completely different and they cannot even be compared. So the refining process of plant-based foods, which are carbohydrates, completely changes the physical structure of it, and therefore, of course, it's going to affect how your body digests it, absorbs it, and utilizes it. And so if you're talking about highly refined processed carbs known as simple sugars like chips, crackers, pretzels, anything white flour, white pasta, then yes, carbs can make you fat. These types of carbs, these simple carbs, are broken down easily and digested quickly, leading to an increase in blood sugar levels, triglycerides, and they are stripped of all of their nutrients, meaning that they are just empty calories, and they are more calorie dense. So in the refining process, it concentrates the calories and can even quadruple, the amount of calories during that process. And so another thing is they're typically come in a package with high fat foods like cake, ice cream, candy. Most people aren't just going to eat a plain spoonful of sugar, at least I hope not. And so really, when you look at chips or crackers, they have just as much fat, if not more fat, than carbohydrates. And that's the problem in the food. Same with pizza. It's not the carbs necessarily. The refining process can make them more calorie dense, but it's the fat in them. And then the sugar and the high fat foods, they stimulate your brain, which causes you to want to eat more. And so it doesn't release that hormone that you're full and satisfied. They don't fill you up either. And so of course, you're going to eat more. It's going to leave you hungrier. And so again, that's another way that you just increase your overall calorie intake in addition to them being more concentrated in calories. And so of course, therefore, it's going to promote weight gain, obesity, and other health problems. So yes, limit, or better yet, avoid and cut these carbs out altogether, and you will lose weight. But complex carbohydrates, on the other hand, are a completely different story. So complex carbohydrates in their whole unrefined form, how they appear in nature, like this apple or the potato, they take a long time for your body to digest. And a big reason is because of the fiber that binds it all together, makes it slowly digest. And so these carbs are also just great sources of energy, minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, and they exclusively contain phytonutrients, photo meaning that it comes from plants, and fiber, which I just talked about, which is a key nutrient for your gut, health, which then in turn improves your overall health. And in fact, the healthiest populations in the world are those whose diets center on whole starches, so carbohydrates. And so if you're looking to actually cut carbs and lose weight, cut out entirely, those simple processed carbs that are harmful to your health, but do not cut out the complex carbohydrates. Instead, you should eat predominantly those whole plant-based starches: rice, potatoes, beans, legumes, fruits, veggies, filling up on those foods will allow you to lose weight effortlessly. That's how I initially lost like 20 pounds when I switched over to a plant-based diet. And you guys know I love my carbs. I eat a high carb diet, and so I'm a testament that if you eat complex carbohydrates, it will not make you fat. No credible study has ever shown that eating these foods has led to weight gain or any diseases or things like that. So if you want to learn more about this, and if you want to learn the problems with a low carb diet, something very important that you need to know, then join me in my private Facebook group for this Thursday's teaching, which is exclusive to the members. And I'll just leave a link below for this group so that you can easily find it and join after this video. But if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend or family member who you think would benefit from this teaching, and then again, invite them into that private group. I would love for you, if you're not already part of it, to join and to invite your friends and family to be a part of this growing family there. So yeah, hope you guys liked today's video. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the chat, but I hope to see you guys there on Thursday. Bye.